So, this is Life Spirts Podcast, the first episode.
Yes, it is.
First we have to talk about, what is this? Why are we here today?
To talk about ghosts and if they are real or not.
I feel like it has to be a little bit more expansive than just ghosts.
Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Everything.
We're here to talk
right?
about the paranormal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where we stand on this, right?
That's really easy because the paranormal can consist of locations, places, theories, ideologies, and people.
Right.
Bigfoot's paranormal.
Right. And so that's what we're here to talk about.
Amityville Horror House is paranormal.
And so this podcast, week after week, will be us discussing various things in the paranormal realm.
Yes.
Right. Correct. Now, before we get started on this discussion, I think it's important that we talk about where do we stand? What is our experience in the paranormal field, or lack thereof? And I feel like you, Devin, should go first on this front.
I should go first. Well, I had multiple paranormal experiences, ever since I was born, and all that stuff, because at the house we were at, I'm not going to go into full detail.
I mean, that's for the podcast, right? Later.
Yeah.
This is the plan of the podcast.
Right.
So we can listen to it and think, that's not smart.
But, yeah, at the house that I was born in, well, not born in, but at, my mom and dad, heard footsteps and all that shit. And then the house that I went to, and then the house that I grew up at, I had a whole bunch of stuff. I seen apparitions.
Right.
I seen, heard my name being called, and I'm all alone in the house. It's very weird. And then the house by Northtown Mall, I don't know if you know where that's at.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I seen an apparition out there.
So, would you consider yourself effectively, I don't know what the term is for it, but where we stand on this, you fully believe it?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's what I'm trying to establish.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Next up, let's have Ian. Where do you... We haven't established who is the regular guests on the show. Ian here, who is for episode 1... you can show up whenever you want. We have no plan for this. But
I'm free most of the time.
Well, right now we don't have no plan, but
right.
In the few weeks we might hopefully will.
Yes.
Because I already have 1 to 2 people call up.
Right.
So where do you stand on this? What do you believe?
The paranormal?
Yes.
Yep.
As a kid, I always grew up kind of weird, had strange thoughts, voices. Hear them a lot, but most of the time, I don't know. People have been tending to call me schizophrenic because of the noises I hear, or sociopathic because of my lack of caring, but yes, I hear voices fair amount, especially when it's really quiet. I hear lots of voices. I believe in the paranormal. I'd say I would.
You would?
Yeah, I believe in it.
And I guess it's on to me.
It is.
You can call me Franklin. And where I stand on this, I don't consider myself a believer or a skeptic. Where I stand is that I feel that many cases can be explained, but at the same time, sometimes reaching for how to explain it is almost less likely than just accepting that something could be paranormal. And so while I would say I'm a skeptic of sorts, I would not say I go as far as live to disprove every scenario that comes my way. But if I can find a natural or normal explanation to all this, I will. I'll try. And that's where I stand on this. Mm-hmm. And it's this sort of dynamic with the three of us.
Right.
I feel that's what makes this podcast different, so to speak. And
tries to disprove it, full on believes it. I'm just insane.
Right. That's the dynamic you get when you subscribe to this podcast. So
that's rough. Dude, the other day I had to go take a hearing test. You know how it's really quiet in this booth? I could not stop hearing the sound of like this band playing.
Really?
It's really weird. It messed up my hearing test because it's literally all I could hear.
Right, yeah, that's
And some people call that audio hallucination because they say the silence is deafening.
I've never heard that before. Have you?
Yeah.
Audio hallucinations are very common. That's why they say the silence is deafening. If you actually hear dead silence, you'll get a headache. It literally hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, I hate to go off on a tangent on this particularly, but at the same time, yeah, there has been studies where people left alone in complete silence for like a week would say that it hurts, after a while. It hurts to hear nothing.
The sensory deprivation.
Right.
Yeah, those tests.
And moving on from that.
Okay.
Do you have something for the first topic of the podcast?
Yeah, I could go off there.
Okay.
And then we as a group can go off from there.
Right.
All right, Ian. You talked about the Amityville Horror House, and Lorraine Warren and Ed Warren. I don't know if you know who they are. They been there, and they got like a whole bunch of shit.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, and they said it was really haunted over there, but it wasn't the worst case that they've been to. Actually, if you've seen the Conjuring, that's the worst case that they've been to. So,
I heard that the people who saw The Conjuring, one of the mom or the dad had a heart attack because it was so real.
Really?
What they had saw. Because they actually went and saw the movie based on what they had experienced.
So basically, one of the family members from
what The Conjuring's based on.
From the parent family?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually love to investigate that house.
That house is for sale.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
I have it on my Google Maps.
So,
on
would
my
the investigation basically result in us saying, "Hey, we want to see the house we're willing to buy it"? And they're like, "Okay," and they're like, "Just no real
$770,000.
Really?
Yeah.
We gotta wear our best suits then. Get in. But on that front, I would say in situations where multiple people see a paranormal event, I feel like
have you ever witnessed anything?
Paranormal?
Yeah.
He's met me.
I would say, realistically, any scenario I've had that's been like remotely paranormal could easily be like easily deduced as just like sleep hallucinations. Like it's always I'm in bed, you see like an object floating there or something.
So you've never been fully awake?
No, I was awake, but
Not fully awake.
even in a sleep hallucination, you're still awake. Mm-hmm. But
You mean a lucid dream?
no, not a lucid dream.
Oh.
Like you guys have heard of sleep paralysis, right?
Well, I have heard of sleep.
Sleep paralysis. So sleep
Yes.
paralysis is what a lot of people do attribute a lot of paranormal events in the home to,
Yes.
especially if you're sleeping. Which I think in a that's for me, that's what I would say anything I've seen paranormal could be deduced by that easily. And so I don't even question it after that happens. But as for this specific case, I would say in situations that people have, like multiple people have witnessed the same paranormal event, it definitely gives more credence to it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it doesn't necessarily prove an event. Or prove, like if you see some really fucked up shit of like a demon possessing somebody, you can't prove it's a demon possessing said person. If that makes sense. You can prove that something really weird happened. How they could have a really shitty disease, I don't know. But to be the skeptic in the situation.
Right.
Not to say that it was or was not. I'm just saying to be that.
Well, that's why when they have the mass groups of exorcisms, that a large part of that is attributed to hysteria.
Right.
Where everyone...
Yeah, I don't really believe in the, like large groups of...
Mm-hmm.
But
possessed folk.
Right. But single cases.
Single cases, yeah.
Yeah, especially the one that is that The Exorcist is based off of. back in 1949, there was a young boy. He was given the name Ronald Doe to like not have his real name up for the public. But then I did some research, and then I found out who he was and all that stuff. And it's sad, it's sad what happened to this kid, because his exorcism went from January or February until like May.
It's a pretty damn long time for an exorcism, yeah.
Yeah, and it began on the East Coast, and then it ended up in St. Louis. And then before they moved to St. Louis, on his chest was written, in blood and all that stuff, was Louis.
Louis, like Lucifer?
Well, yeah, it was spelled Louis, like Louis C.K., but it was spelled like that Louis.
Like Louis, like St. Louis.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But...
And when you said Louis, I was thinking like devil, Lucifer.
Well, that also might have been why he put that, but the people, researching this case, and everybody else thinks that was sort of like a sign that whatever was, in this boy knew that he was going to go to St. Louis, and that would
right.
be.
And that's the thing is, I can never say 100% whether I believe any specific case. Like, I just couldn't unless I literally witnessed it with my two eyes. Like, if...
So basically you have to be somewhere.
I would have to see it myself. Otherwise, I feel like the skeptical part of me would always jump to a conclusion based in the natural world, which is just, it's sad because it means that in so many situations I'm so unwilling to accept something, even if it appears right there. But... that's just me,
Yeah. Well, you should come with us sometime.
Right, for sure. And that's another thing about this podcast is, if you enjoy what we're talking about and enjoy the topics, like and subscribe. And the more support we get, the more we'll do this, and eventually start making trips out to various locations, filming and trying to see what we can find. So... If you care about that or like that, just tell us.
Yeah, because we already have in mind Prospect Place down in Trinway, Ohio. The old mill up in Dundee. The Lima Tuberculosis Hospital. We have these locations, lined up in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all just a matter of really support from the community, because it's not cheap and it's not easy to go a long distance, but if we have people that will give a shit about it, and then also some you don't have to pay, but you have to get but it's still a day, a whole day out.
You still have to ask the police.
Should probably shut my door.
That'd probably be smart.
You see, where we live, we get a lot of spooky shit and a lot of people breaking into my house, so that's why... Okay, back onto this. I want to discuss...
Okay, what?
What, on this?
No, on what you were just going to talk about.
What I was going to say is moving on from what we're doing with the specific channel.
Okay.
I want to talk about where you guys stand on certain paranormal
phenomena.
Yeah. I'd say first off, let's start with something that is usually in the news for one reason or another.
Like orbs or something.
Well,
lights in the sky.
Okay, so
we can start with that. We can start with lights in the sky.
So UFO type objects.
Right. And not aliens explicitly. We're not. Right. That's a whole other thing.
But just
the lights in the sky.
Yeah.
Unidentified, really anything.
How about this? UFOs.
Yes.
Let's go with
But not
UFO.
what's in the UFO? Just the UFO.
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you guys stand on UFOs?
I believe them. Yeah, I totally believe them. You know.
But what do you believe they are?
I
usually?
believe most of the time the lights people see together, that one I squash a little more than other ones because of my background. But the whole lights in the sky, military tested aircraft,
right,
and things like, I believe that usually it's kind of weird when you see the four lights and there's seamlessly nothing in between them, even though they're this close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if it is lights from outer space, I mean, to us they may look inches from each other, but they may be
light years
away
right.
from each other.
Right.
Where do you stand on it?
Well, the reason why I believe, is because I love this stuff and all that stuff. But then also, I believe that I seen some UFOs, like in Maumee.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I can.
What'd you see?
So you want me to go in the detail there?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was with my mom and dad, and we were fishing out on an island out at Sidecut Park, right out there, and then we were on the point, facing north, at the end of the island there, and then I looked up, and then I seen a white dot, very high in the sky, like super high, like higher than any other plane, jet, anything, but I seen a white dot, and then it was either going towards us or away from us. But either way, the reason why I thought that was a UFO was because I seen it do a 90-degree turn, and then it turned. It almost did a U-turn where if it was going towards me, then it would go and then make a U-turn and then go back the other way.
So effectively, that rules out satellite. Can't be a satellite if it turned.
Right.
You can't.
Plane can't turn that fast.
Right. Can't be a comet. Can't be a standard jet.
Mm.
Wouldn't be a star.
Obviously wouldn't be a star. The only thing I could say it could be, is experimental military technology. But then again, the only Air Force base in the area I don't think would be testing.
No, because it's
that.
The 180th. I don't think.
Right. And that is where I can't prove or disprove anything in that, because a whole turn, once you see the turn, that is the difference from a UFO being a satellite.
Right. And once I seen that, like that almost U-turn type, that U-turn, I was just like, that's not a plane.
Right. And yeah. I mean, I definitely that's really where I stand on all this is. And when it comes to UFOs, if it's near a military testing ground, like a real, like in the West usually, I always rule it out in almost every situation.
Right.
It could be military technology, it could be Soviet technology. Well, obviously not anymore, but those sightings from pre-1990. However, in the modern day, if you see something like that turns very quick, if it is military technology, it's something really fucking cool. But if it is a UFO, there's no way to standardize, is this an alien, ship, is this a satellite from something far beyond human, understanding. It's kind of hard to tell.
Right.
Kind of hard to know. And a lot of these situations with, bright orbs in the sky, bright lights, bright orbs, I feel like if it was an alien, they wouldn't be basically saying, "Hey, look at us, look how bright our lights are,"
Yeah. Well, and then my other experience with these lights in the sky or UFOs, whatever you want to call them, was a few years before the one I just said. It was early in the morning, and we were making our way to school. And then, I was on the bus, and we were on the bus route and all that stuff. And then we began to turn, And as we were turning, I was looking out the window, seeing just one star in the sky. And then I focused on the star, and then as we made the turn, that one star went into like 3 other lights. I was like, whoa, what the fuck
Right.
just happened? Like, I thought there was only like one light, but then that one light like went into like 3 different lights.
It
I
is
was like, what the fuck?
possible that could be
Reflection.
or even like...
I mean, that's what I thought. But then as we left the road, there was nothing in the sky.
what do you think it could be, Ian?
I mean, some people say alien life because I don't know if you ever looked at a star and thought or noticed that it was blinking, kind of wavering, not looking straight dead on. Some of these stars, the blinking, the dead on, they could have exploded,
Right.
but it would take thousands of years for that light to finally burn out.
Right.
It could have, I mean...
It could also potentially be a planet passing in front of said star in Earth's vision, but again, that's usually going to be something more noticed by a
scientist
rather than an average person looking into the sky.
I mean, there are so many stars in the sky that the possible phenomenon of you seeing it is highly likely.
Right.
Because there's literally so many options.
Yeah. When you have...
Makes it likely, but not at the same time, because there's literally so much to look at.
Right. And, like, without getting into aliens and whatnot, there's quadrillions of stars in the universe, and, you know, phenomena that comes from said stars, the effects of physics on said stars in the night sky. It's hard to prove or disprove anything. That's why these are unidentified flying objects, because...
Yeah, because we just don't know what...
Right. Yeah. And later in this podcast, future episodes, we will start discussing specific events that have happened in history.
I think an easy one is the wow signal.
Well, yeah.
Do you want to begin this?
The wow signal is more of an aliens thing, but I guess you could call it aliens. Some of the most... Big list of 10 of the most strangest unexplained recorded audio.
Right.
Being the wow signal, which is actually recorded right at Cincinnati or Cleveland University. I don't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Do we want to save this for another day? We can have full research done?
Yeah, we can go into that further. Yeah, we can go into that further.
Right now?
No, not right now.
Oh, later. Okay. And see, that's the thing. Is later in future episodes, we will have topics picked out beforehand. Today, we're just trying to explain what this podcast is and kind of give you a small feel of what we're doing.
First episode, so...
Right. So back onto what do you guys believe in?
Well, part of me is like, is this show turning into a paranormal show or a conspiracy theory thing? Which it could be a little bit of both, because a lot of conspiracy theories have to do with
it's up to you, Devin.
Paranormal.
So it's paranormal explicitly. Okay.
Yeah.
Is Bigfoot paranormal?
But Bigfoot is also a conspiracy theory.
How?
Is he? Is it?
People conspire about
but people conspire.
That's the
people
thing.
conspire that Apple
Bigfoot
is destroying their
the
devices.
Paranormal.
So it's like people can conspire about anything. But
I guess that's true. Like when people say that like 9/11 was fake. That's a conspiracy.
Right.
That's not paranormal.
Right.
That's what I think of when I think of conspiracies.
So we're on to paranormal. Bigfoot. Where do you stand on him?
Aliens are conspiracies too.
Oh God.
People regard them as a conspiracy. Like aliens are conspiracy.
Aliens. Well, they can be both. Yeah.
On the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know, you are. I mean, you might find a pattern in this, but on some of the topics, I don't believe. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very hard to find one that I don't believe in. But when I do, you know, I try to find evidence that it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Bigfoot side, you know, I actually do think that there is something out there.
Something.
Yeah. But we can go further into detail about what videos are out there.
Right. And
all that stuff.
On Bigfoot, my position is this. Have you guys heard of Gigantopithecus, the largest ape ever?
Yes.
I think an ancestor of that could be somewhere. I don't believe it's in North America, but I think somewhere on this earth there is a ape larger than a man that's bipedal.
Have you seen the photos of this ape?
See, my problem with Bigfoot is, though, when was the earliest anyone's ever taken a picture of him? Like the 20s? Wasn't it like a long time ago?
Yeah, but there's been sightings, I mean, even Native Americans.
But
I feel like if Bigfoot was just an ape or human, that he would have died after this many years,
it had to
or
be
he
a
definitely
species,
would have been found.
right? Wouldn't it have to be some sort of species rather than an individual being?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
I think he would have passed on.
Right.
Somebody would have found him.
Right.
And if we didn't, I mean, over the course of how long does it take for a dead animal to decay? I mean, a whole cow will decay in a month. So, I mean, if he was real and happened to die, it's unlikely anybody will ever find him. Maybe remains of him.
Well, back onto that topic of if they found him or not. There are theories, I guess you can call them. But yes, it would be a species, and all that stuff. But then the reason why people haven't found them is, they say that they bury their dead and all that stuff, and then also they're sort of smarter than us, I guess you can say.
They're smarter than us, but they're living in Northwest Pacific area, covered in fur. Like, I don't know. I don't believe they could be smarter than us. I can't get behind that.
Well, I mean, they eluded us for almost 500 or
but
1,000 years, and for now.
That's the thing. I don't know. I don't believe that Bigfoot lives in North America. Because I don't think a large ape would live in this climate. I don't think.
Well, Ohio is the biggest Sasquatch or Bigfoot sighting area on the east side of the Mississippi.
But that's the thing is, in this modern day, where everybody has a literal professional camera in their pocket, how has it been so long that people have sightings yet cannot capture a picture?
I mean, the way I say it is, like, you gotta catch a picture. I mean, look at today. I mean, no one, and it's kind of a morbid way to think about it, nobody could kill another person and get away with it in this modern society.
Right.
I mean, they really can't. It's amazing how many... Like, how there's a witness to everything.
Right.
Like, it seems like somebody could murder somebody in the middle of a cornfield and somebody would be like, yeah, I saw that. It's like, there's literally a witness and there's footage of everything.
Right.
And I feel, and also, like, fun fact, but 100% of the Earth is occupied by human-made sound. So...
Somewhere.
Yeah, there is human sound, whether it be a jet or anything, 100% of the planet is occupied by human noise. So I think... I mean, something like that could adapt to live in that environment, but there's people everywhere, and the forests are getting smaller and smaller as we log more and more. I definitely feel like somebody would have found him.
Right.
And if there's more than one of him and they do bury their dead... I mean, I can't think of any other animal that really buries its dead, especially smart or dumb ones.
Right.
I mean, dumb, air quotes, but...
And that's... some animals do, like, when they have, like, funerals... But they don't fully, usually, like, consistently bury the dead. My issue with Bigfoot sightings is because I just can't believe that this ape lives in North America. I think if there was a Bigfoot, it would be in Asia.
Which there is.
Right, but I subscribe to that belief because at least then it's a climate that would require, massive amounts of fat and muscle to survive.
But that species has a totally different name.
Yeah, it does.
And it has a totally different look.
But I do believe that they're related. They have to be related.
They are related. But they
giant
look totally
apes,
different.
But they're giant apes in the end.
Yeah, but they look totally different.
Right, but I group them all together, even like the Yowie and stuff like
See, I thought Bigfoot would pander more towards like South America.
There are reports down there, but yet again they look totally different.
But that's the thing is I have to imagine a lot of these sightings can't be real because they could easily take if I saw Bigfoot walk in, first thing I do in the world is grab my phone, swipe right, and just press picture. That's all I'd have to do. It's just
take a video. Wasn't there a recent video that somebody put out?
Well, that's the thing.
That looked like pretty real.
The most prolific videos in history of Bigfoot have always been at one point or another proven false from the creator of the video itself. whether it be on their deathbed or by just virtue of they notice that it's a human man walking. My issue is that I just think there would have to be a picture.
Well, here is this photo of this ape that you guys are most likely talking about. Mm-hmm. Here is like the fake ape that they did.
Right.
And then here's this is actual size of what it would have been, to an average person here.
That's the thing is people even discuss, could that ape have walked bipedal or would it have had to walk with its, like a gorilla?
It could have for a short period of time.
Right.
Like what isn't the most famous picture, that black and white one, where his like arms extended like that and he's kind of looking over? It's like he's like in between two big trees.
Yeah, with Bigfoot.
The most famous picture or video, whatever you want to call it, is the Patterson-Gimlin film.
But wasn't that disproven? Or
no.
I thought it was. I thought on the deathbed, one of the men said it was faked.
They might have, but...
From a distance, it almost looks like a guy like wearing a hoodie, kind of. I don't know.
Well, that's the
exposure's really bad.
They talked about, like, people have analyzed the movement of Bigfoot, how an animal could even support itself like this. And I really do believe that if an ape is this big, it could not walk. Like, the largest man on Earth, which was about 8 feet tall, couldn't even... He died because he was too tall. He couldn't get blood circulation through his body. And it's hard for me that an ape...
Right. Well, because the human bodies aren't designed that way. But,
right.
But if you have a body designed that way,
but is there
I think they're able to.
There's never been a bipedal animal that
Here's my thing with Bigfoot, though. There's only image... Like, I feel like Bigfoot could walk, but not all the time.
Right.
I feel like he would run on all fours, but maybe... Like, I mean, apes walk on their feet, but they don't run on their 2 feet.
Then again, apes are only... sometimes 4 feet tall,
Yeah, that's an ape, though. We aren't really talking about ape.
But no, they are. It is an ape. It has to be a giant ape, or...
Well, it's not just an ape. I mean, it has to have some sort of human...
I've heard the fact that some people say it's like a... Some people say it was a gorilla that's on the loose, and it grew this ragged fur to deal with the cold weather, because it had been out here. Because... I don't even know this. Ohio is also number 1 for illegal animal trafficking. There's more wild tigers in this state than any other, because all sorts of people import these animals. So it's not unlikely that back in the day, some dude could have had gorillas in Ohio. I mean, there weren't laws then. There still really aren't any good restrictions now.
So like some rich man could have came back.
Well, that guy that, what do you live in, Zanesville? He killed himself, and he let out all those exotic animals and tigers and bears and stuff he had. That happened in Ohio. I mean,
so like, I think that's a fair assessment that some dude, maybe it'd be in the 1800s, had a pet gorilla, a couple pet gorillas.
1800s? Are you kidding?
Why? I mean, it couldn't have been that much.
The photo wasn't really.
No, because there was thousands or 2,000, 300, 5,000 years ago. The Native Americans.
Yeah, there was.
even.
But that's the thing is back then. I did a video on these mythical monsters for my YouTube channel.
Well, I see what you're saying. When it'd be like the rich man brought some animals over from wherever he came from.
The reason I don't believe in the report from 5,000 years ago is because there was reports of unicorns in Africa, like legitimate unicorns, and people were like, okay, let's go find these. And so people from Europe went to Africa and they asked them, where are these unicorns? And they pointed at a rhino. Like, no joke, because it could have been a bear that the Native Americans spotted and thought this is a very large bear that's walking on 2 feet. It could have been,
but
he has the structure of a bear,
right? But I would argue that because in their ancient drawings, you know what a bear is, and then and then there's man, and then there's this big giant man.
But we know what a bear looks like because we've seen pictures of a bear. We've seen video of a bear. How often are people 7 to 8 feet away from a bear? If you see a bear, you're not going to distinguish this as a gigantic dog, basically. Dog thing. Right. If you see it stand up on 2 feet and you don't see its face, you're going to think that's a man. Like you would. Your natural response as someone that doesn't know about such things, that isn't well versed in zoology, is going to...
This is the famous photo I'm talking about. That one.
Yeah, that's from the
Right.
film.
See, the problem is with this guy.
I don't see any problem with that.
No, the problem is.
I see boobs on that.
What?
Yeah, right there. There's boobs right there. There's boobs.
This is Devin talking about boobs on a Bigfoot picture.
No, it is from the Patterson-Gimlin film, and within this video, I can prove to you it is real, because we know that it is not a he in the video. It is a female Bigfoot.
I see what you're saying. That's a blurrier picture. I'm talking about this line on the face, though.
Yeah, that's the eyes. That's the eyes.
What? But if it goes across, why would Bigfoot have such a pale nose?
How about this?
No, it's not a pale
people
nose.
in the comment section contribute to this. If you have proof towards or against this photo in this video.
No, you have to think about how an ape's face is. You know, I mean, they have hair all over the body except for the face.
But it's not that white, and I don't know what in the photo would make it look that way.
The sun. I don't know.
Look, I thought, and I may be mistaken, that I heard it was falsified. But again, I cannot 100% commit to that. That's why if you in the comment section, if you believe it, tell us why you believe it. If you don't believe it, tell us why. So we here can know.
Is this from the same one? The same picture?
That's not. That is.
Okay.
But I have one more thing on this video. Within the video, you do see boobs on this.
Bigfoot.
Yes, on this female Bigfoot, which, you know, would be very, I mean, not as hard as this other thing I'm going to say
breasts
to make. This other thing in the video that shows up is a bulge on this person's, or this Bigfoot's knee. You know, it's like, it actually has anatomy. You know, and if it was just a Bigfoot suit, then you wouldn't see any. I mean, within this video, you can see muscle definition. I mean, you could actually see this.
I mean, that's...
So, I mean, you could see the bulge pop out. You know, and then also they investigated the way that this Bigfoot walks, and it walks totally different than humans.
But then again, a man could, just to be the skeptic here, a man could change how he walks.
It'd be very hard.
It would be hard. I'm not saying it'd be easy.
Because Monster Quest, they tried to recreate the way that this thing walks, and he couldn't walk as long as this thing walked.
See, I get your whole thing on the breast part, but if this animal is supposed to be, is Bigfoot supposed to be unlike human or close to human?
Well,
is Bigfoot supposed to be on his own, or is Bigfoot almost supposed to be like a Neanderthal?
I was always under the assumption.
That's what some people think.
Some people, yeah.
Because like I see these breasts you're talking about, looking at them, they're so that of human. They're not like, I mean, I haven't seen gorilla's breasts in a while or anything that looks like this. But usually it's not as defined. I mean, that almost looks like somebody with a D cup. Like it's a super defined breast, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me lean over towards
a young Bigfoot.
Guys, as much as I would love to spend my Friday night talking about Bigfoot's breasts, I feel like we need to move on this topic. On this topic, I say I think Bigfoot could easily, in past times, could have been a wild man, like Henry Thoreau, who. You know, I'm not saying he was a wild man, but he was a man who went, to Walden Lake and secluded himself for a very long time. I feel like this could be like a hermit sometimes, not every sighting.
Well, if we're talking about people who secluded themselves, let's talk about Todd Standing. He goes out on expeditions for like 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever it is, but sometimes he's out so long that he is filed as a missing person.
Oh, God.
But he knows where he's at. You know.
Right.
But then there's people that have the police looking for him. And then he just walks out like, hi,
What's he from?
Well, he's from America. But
well, I mean, like, how do you know of him?
Well, because he took famous now photos of Bigfoot while he went on these videos and photos. And he calls the daytime Bigfoots, or some of them, he made this theory, or not really theory, but he took a photo of some Bigfoots, and he sort of found out that they were like day watchers, meaning they would watch out and sort of protect the area or something like that.
During the day from humans.
Right, yeah. I'll pull it up for you.
Now, I've seen this photo a lot. Do you know anything about that one?
No, I don't. I don't think I've seen that photo there. But
That's like a newer one.
In this modern day, though, of even like such easy photo editing, how do people that believe in the photos, how do they get around that?
what do you mean?
Like, in the modern day, it's so easy to manipulate a photo with Photoshop. How has that really changed that whole...
the look on it?
How people perceive it. Like, when you see a new photo of Bigfoot, it's so easy for someone to just say that was Photoshopped. But how do you get around that? Like, is there any modern photos,
The only way, honestly, to get around it would be to capture Bigfoot. Also, why do they call Bigfoot Sasquatch?
Because that's a scientific name.
Oh. What's that based on? Was there something back in time that they would call a Sasquatch?
No. Not as I know of. It's just this. And then the reason for the Bigfoot is because it has a big fucking foot.
Yeah. It has a big foot.
Yes.
Has a Bigfoot. Bigfoot has a Bigfoot. You heard it here first on Life Spirits Podcast.
I don't think it's that big of a foot. I mean, compared to the
I thought you were going to say compared to the breasts. And I was gonna be like, Ian, this is...
Compared to the actual height of Bigfoot, I don't think he would have, like... This is what people say Bigfoot's foot would look like. I'm like, that's a little...
No, that's...
No. I think he would have a...
Bigfoot's feet or foot looks similar to human, but you can tell that it's something else. It's not human.
Right.
I mean, does it have a thumb? Like an ape or no? It's just a foot.
No, it's a foot like ours.
Well,
but the features on it.
Guys, we are currently at 1 hour 40 minutes.
But then the way that the foot bends looks or is totally different.
Do you want to have one more topic today, or do you want to end it here?
We can do one more topic. What's the time?
It is
7 o'clock.
Yeah, 7 o'clock now. 9 o'clock.
I have audio I do have to work on, so if you want to do just one more quick topic.
Well, I would like to
just cop out and be like Loch Ness, but
no. I mean, like, I feel like we also have to explain to any viewers here that this is a very small production, a very small team trying to just kind of bring another level of discussion to this sort of stuff. Again, if you do appreciate any of this or give a shit, just give us a shout out. Let us know you're even out there.
That's the day watchers.
You just showed me a very disturbing image of
face.
That just looks like a man in a mask, a terrible mask, but.
That's the day watchers, though. I mean, that's a photo, but he has them on film. He has them on film.
So, I feel like we should probably end with Bigfoot.
Okay.
But we should probably tell the audience what we're going to talk about next time, so they actually, give a shit to come back.
I was about to say, really quick, how does Bigfoot stack up to, say, a Yeti?
In height?
I mean, in, believability.
I know Nepal, I believe, legalized Yeti licenses, but they're $10,000, which means that a lot of money is going to the government, which means that they have no reason to say the Yeti is not real, because it increases tourism and hunting and...
Well, there is the Russian Bigfoot, but we can say that for next episode.
Well, that's the thing. I think next episode, we're going to be a little bit more...
Put together,
prepared. Most importantly, I think we're going to have content that we have researched
Yes, and every time
Yeah,
I think
well,
of an idea,
all three of
we'll
us,
write it down.
all three of us should have a computer, and all three of us should have a topic that we're gonna speak
talking
on.
about. Yeah. And
yeah, we should, already have research done.
Yeah. And so with that, we might even introduce video if you people want us to. If you really care to see,
I think a video spice everything up. We just need to figure out
right. We did have originally planned to have video today, but things fell through. But I really do think this is probably the best part to end. Going an hour and 45 minutes, which is longer than what I intended.
way longer than I anticipated. We'd ever even make it.
Right. So,
but I feel like next time we'll be more put together. And for the video, I mean, I have a better setup. I just need a table.
Right.
I'll just build something.
Right.
No, we can just bring this fucking table.
Bring this table.
This table will look weird because my basement is gigantic.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
On that note, this is Life Spirits Podcast. It's Ian, Devin, and I'm Franklin.
Actually, you're Tyler, and I'm warning you now. If you tell people to call you Franklin,
I'm Franklin.
They will call you that forever.
I'm Franklin, guys. Franklin. Remember that. Franklin. Put that in people's head. Franklin, guys.
I hope you're editing this all.
I'm not editing any of this.
Oh my God.
This is so much work. I've never edited a 1 hour 46 minute video in my life, and I never will.
You're not supposed to edit podcasts, so it's fine.
Exactly.
And it's the first one.
It's the first one.
So
on that note, I can't use that. They use that on Top Gear. We got to have our own closer.
Top Gear's over.
Top Gear is over. On that note, that concludes Life Spirits Podcast. Thank you. Good night.